I have something I want to show you. I feel a bit I feel a bit embarrassed. I feel some shame. And also I have some wonder and some awe about this object. I can smell it actually. It was forgotten in my um it was forgotten in my bag, and now it's got a life of its own. And I think it's actually probably incredibly wholesome, and it's probably safe to eat, although I feel like I should do some research before actually eating it. It's the first time that I've seen this um, growing in my vicinity. And, what is my point? Seeds. Yes, planting seeds and changing our patterns. And I say this as somebody who is far from perfect, that is doing my best and struggling. And I say this as someone who is a survivor and struggles with anxiety and just having a hard time, and doing my best to heal myself, and also feeling like incredibly lonely and like nobody really understands what it's like, and also wanting to make the world a better place. Yeah. And for many years, I did these workshops trying to make the world a better place. And I think in some ways that they did. And also, I'm wanting to take a different approach to changing the world, and to reimagine what it is to be vulnerable, what it is to be sensual, what it is to be playful, what it is to be imperfect, what it is to forget this Tupperware, and to find these glorious seeds making a journey. And it's only because they had the space, a safe space, to be themselves in a way that I didn't actually know was possible. And I suppose what I'm wanting to do is hold a space intentionally this time for us to practice being, practice feeling, practice listening, practice playing, and yeah. Yesterday, I was walking down the street with a flower. Where's the flower? Oh, it's right behind me. Okay, this is the flower. And the flower's been injured um, since yesterday, but yesterday it was sticking out of my bag, and it was very upright. And this man felt the need to make a sexual comment about my flower, as if it was some sort of an erection, and felt very uncomfortable. And when I think about why he made that comment, this was somebody that I don't know, that I'll probably never see again. And that was the only interaction that we've had, was him commenting on my flower as some sort of a erection flower. And I don't feel comfortable with that interaction. And I don't think he wanted me to feel uncomfortable, but his comment was sexual and unwanted and brought up a lot of feelings for me. And his comment reflected the lack of safety that so many of us have in the streets and in the sheets, and the carelessness that he made that comment about my flower is a reflection of the carelessness that people practice with their words and with their bodies. And what I want to do is be intentional with how we practice showing up for ourselves and each other, to be intentional about building safety, about building communication skills that don't leave people feeling like they have that ickiness of that messed up exchange. And I think it's possible to be sex positive without being so reckless. And I think it's important for us to have opportunities to talk about sex, to talk about bodies, to talk about pleasure, and to do that intentionally as opposed to recklessly. And yeah, we need to practice how we communicate, how we express ourselves, how we empathize, how we listen, how we practice consent, and making space for conversations about boundaries, about mental health, to model vulnerability. And we don't need to be perfect, because perfection doesn't exist. And I believe that we can make this world a safer place, a place where we're not so phenomenally struggling and deeply disconnected. And I say that as somebody who is struggling and who does feel deeply disconnected. And I'm hoping that this can be a way that we can nourish ourselves and each other and be intentional about healing, about our holistic health in a sex positive way. And yeah, that's my hope for the universe. And yeah, I was thinking maybe there could be some sort of a practice. Maybe Maybe it could be a choose your own adventure. Kind of like those choose your own adventure books, but instead with videos. Maybe, yeah. I don't know, I'm still figuring it out. And the ending doesn't need to be. Okay, I feel like my brain is all over the place. I don't know if I'm making sense, actually, because sometimes I make videos that end in a very particular way, a significant percentage of the time. And I think that's probably changed the way that I think and probably changed the way that I speak and the way that I experience my body. And this video does not feel like a video that is going to end in a particular, well, at this point in time, it doesn't feel like this video is going to end the way that some of those other videos end. And that's okay. Sometimes I think as men, we feel this pressure to finish in a particular way. And I want to challenge that. I want to offer alternative ways that we can practice feeling whole and complete, and that sex does not need to be at the center of the structure of our communication and our interactions. And I suppose I could critique myself for that, and I probably will. I probably critique myself a little bit too much, but right now I don't really want to dwell on that critique. I think I just want to say thank you for sharing this space, and yeah, I'm sorry that things are so painful and challenging in so many different ways. And I believe that we can make it better. And I believe that we have a responsibility to build our skills and practices around communication and safety and consent, and to be really intentional with love. So many people take this concept of love and use it to control and manipulate and to practice causing harm and violence. And that's not love. Love is nourishing. Love is healthy. Love has boundaries and safety and the space to say no. Love needs to be grounded on a foundation of consent. And unfortunately, there are so many relationships and marriages that don't have that safety, that don't have that consent built into how they communicate. And that's not love. They might think that it's love, but love requires the space to say no. Love requires consent. And anything else is just some sort of facade. It's fake. Yeah. And I think, unfortunately, many of us have had models of love that have been fake. And I think that's what has led to the orgasm gap, to so many issues around safety and consent and communication for so many generations. And it's time for change. It's time for safety. It's time for consent, for a love that actually means something, something beautiful, something to be appreciated and nourished and cherished. And it is possible to practice that type of love. And for those of us like myself that are single, we can practice with ourselves, with how we nourish ourselves, with how we talk to ourselves, with how we practice compassion and empathy. So many of us have spent so many decades, including myself, beating myself up, stuck in this pattern of harm that is so I don't want to say natural, but if you spend day after day beating yourself up, that becomes what we expect in how to be treated. And we start to think that that's normal. And we might think that that's what love is, but that's not love. And it's taken years of practice to break out of that cycle and those patterns of beating myself up. And I'm hoping that we can stop causing harm to ourselves and to each other and build our skills for treating each other with empathy, with kindness, with compassion, with boundaries. So that we can stop pretending to be somebody that we're not. How does that sound? Okay. Thank you for joining me for this. I was going to call it a TED Talk, but it's not a TED Talk. It's just a... I'm going to have to think about what to call this. A little heart to heart. Thank you for joining me for this heart to heart. I'm going to try and get my life in order. Yeah. Wish me luck, and I wish you the best of luck as well. Okay. Bye. It's so hard for me to say goodbye. I have attachment issues. Working on it. Okay, bye.